Hey everybody, welcome to Love Amplified. It's a murky, Tuesday afternoon. We've had a lot of rain over the last couple of days. And everything is smelling clean and fresh. And it's chilly. We're moving into winter. Well, after that weather update, let's talk about what I want to talk about now. I've been fascinated by the debate, and it has been a debate, and there's been a lot of arguments going backwards and forwards on social media around the science of what is going on here, and people accusing each other of bad science, which in itself is bad science. And I think we need to step back, because what seems to be happening is scientists don't sound like scientists anymore. They sound more like religious fundamentalists, claiming to have cornered the market on truth. And from my understanding, science has never been that. Science is about probability. And I think throughout history, we've seen where science has got it wrong, where what was claimed to be truth and proven with evidence-based and peer-reviewed and all of that type of thing has turned out to be false. And yes, people will come at me and say, show me. All you have to do is just open up your browser and Google, and you'll find plenty of evidence to show you where science got it wrong. And I don't think anybody can claim that they have the absolute truth on what is going on here. And when you have people going off at each other, calling each other as fake scientists and using fake science to prove a theory, that's all science has ever done, was try to prove theories. And sometimes we get it right, most of the time. But I think the moment we start to believe that because there's evidence to support your theory, it is the truth, we've seen that evidence can be manipulated in many different ways. And I start to get very wary when people stand up and say, this is the truth, this is how it is, and every other theory is wrong, because that is fundamentalism. And I think more and more it feels like there are so many hard-lined scientists out there who seem to have all the evidence to support their theory, and anything else that falls outside that gambit is pseudoscience or just plain down wrong quackery. And I think we need to pause and reflect. And there's so much that science can't prove. There's so much that science isn't even willing to look at, and hasn't been for so long. And now more than ever, we need to look at those things and go beyond just what evidence is saying, because as I've said, that can be manipulated. And we need to go inward and see what we feel and test that. And I think for each one of us to stand in our own right and sense, feel, inquire, explore what makes sense for us, and not get so fixated on that theory or outcome that it becomes impossible for us to shift. Because what was proven 100 years ago is now proven as completely false. So I think it's a movable feast, it's ever changing, and the moment we get fixated on this is how it is the moment we shut all kinds of exploration down. And we need dissenting voices. We need people to challenge the status quo. We need alternative narratives. Firstly, it's entertaining to watch it unfold. And secondly, it allows a thoughtful perception. It allows us to introspect. It allows us to reflect. And it gives us food for thought. And it certainly allows me to go inward and play with these different ideas. So I'm not a scientist by any stretch. And for most of society out there, we don't have fancy theories and stats and all of that. But we shouldn't solely rely on what science says, no matter how much evidence there is to support it. I prefer much to rely on what my heart says. But each to their own, I suppose. Yes, I think science is important, of course it is. And the role and the progress it's made for humanity in taking us forward has been unquestionable in that regard. But when it becomes fundamentalism, I think it stops working. So, what are your thoughts on this? And maybe before you jump in and try and refute, just see what comes up for you. Feel your way through this. I think that's what we all have to do anyways, feel our way through this. Yes, take in the different views and stop censoring alternate views. Take it all in and then make up your own mind. Thank you again and speak to you soon. Ciao.